Hey guys, welcome to our channel Chill on YouTube. As communities and businesses are opening, you may be looking for ways to resume daily activities as safely as possible. While there's no way to ensure zero risk of infection, it is important to understand potential risks and how to adopt different types of prevention measures to protect yourself and to help reduce the spread of COVID-19. And as public spaces open up, that's led to some big questions. Is it safe to go to the beach? What about a park? And is a runner going to get you sick? If we think about our actions only in terms of safety or risk, there's really only a way to guarantee you won't get sick or spread COVID-19. Stay home, isolate yourself, and have zero contact with the outside world. But maintaining that level of caution all time isn't really possible for most of us, unless you're a monk. We need food, supplies, and sometimes we just need to take a walk. So the goal in protecting yourself and others from COVID-19 isn't to eliminate risk completely, it's to minimize it, especially when we go outside the house. In this video, we'll bring forward some key points to make sure that you can go out with minimum risk of getting infected by coronavirus. So without further ado, let's dive right in. First thing first. All this started back on January 23rd. A family in China traveled from Wuhan to the city of Guangzhou. The next day, they ate at a restaurant. One of them had COVID-19 but didn't feel sick yet. Within a few days, other members of the family started showing symptoms. And a few days after that, so did the family who was sitting at the table next to them. The family at this table got so sick, researchers say this first person was the source of all these infections. Even though some of them were sitting almost 14 feet away. But the people eating at these tables didn't get sick. Why? An air conditioning unit right here kept the air flowing through this section of the restaurant. It circulated the virus from this person through the air to these other families. This story highlights something about the coronavirus that most of us are just starting to understand: its ability to travel through the air. So, if one side is perpetual quarantine and the other side is getting coughed on by a bunch of sick people, it's about pushing yourself as reasonably close to quarantine as you can. Sneezing droplets are dangerous. Every time we breathe, and especially when we cough or sneeze, we let out these droplets of water. Some of them are pretty big and heavy and fall to the ground quickly, like little bits of spits. Others are really small and much lighter, so they float further through the air. And these droplets are carrying the virus if a droplet floats and then evaporates. That leaves the virus out in the air for some period of time. And we don't yet know the amount of virus you have to be exposed to get sick. But we do know how to lower your risk by exposing yourself to less of the virus. The difference between how air moves inside versus outside is huge. To show that, we used a spray which glows under a black light. We sprayed a test subject with it both inside and outside from 3 feet away. Even though it wasn't windy, far fewer spray particles reached the shirt outside. The airflow was so much better at dispersing them. And being outside also has an effect on the virus itself. The virus has this protective coat of moisture around it. There's a lot of things acting on it, so there's sunlight hitting it, there's wind, there's rain, there's humidity, and all that can work to kind of break apart this protective coat of moisture and decay the virus. Safety guidance. Going to the beach or to a park isn't necessarily dangerous or safe. The risk can go up or down depending on how we behave, which means everyone has a responsibility to lower the risk for everyone else. The point here is to be cavalier when you go outside. There are 3 ways to be safe from being infected, especially when you go out. The first is distance. So, are you 6 feet away from the other people? Next is duration. Are you encountering this person for 1 second as they whisk past you, or are you around them for an hour? And the third and last is ventilation. Is there good airflow moving around you that can disperse any viral particles? Or are you in an enclosed indoor space where the viral particles are going to stick around? Wearing a mask is number 1. Shopping at an open-air market is less risky than being inside a store. But you can reduce that risk by getting in and out quickly. But what about passing a heavy breathing runner? So, let us take you what would actually have to happen for a runner or cyclist outside to infect you as they pass by. They would have to expel enough viral particles to be able to kickstart an infection. Those particles would have to travel several feet of distance, withstand the pressure of wind, rain, humidity. Then the particles have to actually land in your throat, or your upper respiratory tract, or your hands, which you could then use to touch your eyes, your nose, your mouth. So all of that is a pretty arduous sequence to execute perfectly. A study in China looked at 318 different outbreaks of COVID-19 across the country. Only one of them involved someone catching it outdoors. That study hasn't been peer-reviewed, but it's consistent with everything else we know, that being outside can be pretty low risk, but your interactions with other people can increase that risk. If you're talking to a friend at a close distance, your risk goes up, and that risk climbs the longer your conversation continues. And if you're both wearing masks to stop some of the larger droplets from spreading, your risk goes significantly down. Alright guys, that's the end of this video, how to minimize coronavirus risk outside. We hope you really enjoyed it. Thanks for tuning in. But before you go, subscribe, like, and share this video. And don't forget, hit that bell icon to check out more interesting videos made just for you.